Hey everyone, it's 4Gun Guy, and I'm out here at the range today doing some practice. It's still hot in mid-September, but I was watching some YouTube videos about some new shooters, and one gentleman, he's very young, he's 22, and he did a video on his first PRS match and some training and around his rifle, and it was a great video. He really was open and honest about how he did in the match, the things that kind of bit him in the match. And I started to realize that in a few matches that I shot this year, I saw some new folks shooting them, and they kind of had the same kind of challenges. So I thought today I'd talk to you about 5 things to think about when you're going to shoot your first PRS match. Now, I got my cheat sheet here, so the things that we're going to talk about are rifle weight and balance, magnification and parallax, target acquisition, your stance, whether you're at a standing stance like this or on your knees, and this is a perfect prop to show this on, and then what I call starting a round before you head off on the stage. So let's go over those 5 things. We'll try to keep it short. I'll try to spend like 2 minutes on each one of these. And if you're ready to go, let's get to it. Well, the first thing I want to talk about is your rifle weight and balance. Now, I'm going to use this gentleman as an example. Again, I'm not picking on him or anything. He's just starting out. I think it was, he went over his rifle, and it was a nice rifle. But what I noticed as he was shooting was the rifle seemed light. And he was running a 6.5 Creedmoor cartridge, which means it's got some kick to it. And I messaged him, I haven't heard back, but I'm assuming his rifle was probably in the 16 to 18 pound range. I'm going to say on the lower end, maybe 16 pounds. And honestly, that's just too light, especially for a 6.5 Creedmoor. This rifle here with the scope, not with the trigger cam, but with the scope and the bipod, which I don't have on it right now, is about 23 pounds. And the reason you want something with a little weight to it is precisely because when I put this rifle down on this bag, it's there. And now we're going to talk about the balance aspect of it, right? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 internal weights on the front of this thing. And it's because it's so rear heavy. But this is what you want. You want this rifle to be balanced. So when I get on this prop, I'm not fighting the rifle either way. The rifle's on it. If I need to adjust, I can adjust. As I get down on the rifle's not fighting me with weight either way. So those are some things to think about: the weight of the rifle and the balance of the rifle. And if you start off with that, it's going to help you a lot in just getting down on that prop and getting ready to acquire the target, which is what we're going to talk about next. Well, I lied. We're going to talk about Parallax Magnification next. So the other thing that I noticed that he did was, as he got down, every time, he was messing with the magnification. It was almost as if, and he even said this in his follow-up video, it was almost as if he had the magnification set to max, and then when he got down there, he'd have to really bring it back down, and then he messed with it for a few seconds. Every time you do that, you're burning 5 seconds off the clock, and on a 2-minute stage, you don't have that time. You can't afford that much time. That's a lot of time. So what I always do when I get to the stage is I find the target. Let's say that I'm going to turn the trigger cam on. Let's say that the target is 500 yards. I'll come off to the side. You can't do this on a prop. You cannot put your rifle on the prop, but I'll come off to the side and I'll get down here like this with my elbow I'll put I'll zoom out, and then see my hands over here on the parallax? I'm going to adjust the parallax to where I need to adjust it, right? Now I've got this trigger cam on, it gets a little fuzzy with it, but I don't need to see the target. Now one thing I can do down here is, for example, that 500-yard circle, the big one, I can come down here and go, okay, that looks like it's about 6/10 wide, 6/10 of a mil wide. Now I want to look at my magnification, and I'm going to say that I want my magnification right about there, which is about 18. I generally run about 18 magnification, no more. Now, let's talk about what I just did. I checked my parallax, I checked my magnification, and I checked the width of the target. But get as much done as you can before you shoot the stage. And now, with our magnification and everything set, I'm going to get back down on here. Now when I get down on the stage, I'm on it, right? We're going to talk about target acquisition here in a second. But I can tell you that, well, that's about 5/10 wide, the target is. So let's talk about this. Oh, and don't dial your parallax to what the dial says, right? Because this is 500 yards, okay? And I can tell you that my scope right now says 500 yards, and that's fuzzy. So I'm right at about 300 with this setting right here, right about 300, and that's clear. And you want to make sure that the target is clear and your reticle is clear. If your reticle is not clear, then you are out of sync between your focus, the parallax, and your diopter here in the back. And you don't want to be out of sync between those two. So, okay, let's move on to target acquisition. All right, target acquisition. This goes hand in hand with the previous section, the parallax and the magnification. We're going to stick with the same 500-yard target we did the last time. And here's what I want to do. And you've heard me say this in 1,000 videos. I'm going to start this trigger cam. And before the stage, before I'm here where I am right now, I am off to the side looking at the target through binoculars, through someone's spotting scope. And by the way, I'm finally looking at the target. Let me talk about this. I'm looking at the target at the prop. I'm looking at the target here. I may be 10 feet behind it, but I'm looking at the target here, because if I come over here and look at that target, it's at a different angle than over there. And I've done this before. I've looked at it over here. I've gotten over here. I've gotten down on the rifle. I'm like, where the heck is this thing, right? Look at the target behind the prop before you even get up to 5 shooters before you shoot, 2 shooters. Make sure you understand where the target is. Look for a landmark by the target. I know that that's a KYL rack, right? So I'm going to look for that rack when I get up to the stage. Now I'm up to the stage. Now everything is set. I've got my bag in my hand, and when the buzzer goes off, I am looking at the target. That's where I'm looking, right there. Bag down. I'm still looking at the target. My rifle is on the target. Let's see where this is in the scope, because I think I'm recording this. Yep. Let's see where I end up at. I'm getting down on the rifle, and I'm just low, and there I am, okay? Now, I'm on it, boom, I'm on it, boom, and I'm taking my time here. Now I move. I have to move. Rifle up, I'm looking at the target. I look where I place my bag, I look back up at the target, I place the rifle is aiming at the target, and look where I am right now when I'm getting down on it. Okay? The gentleman I watched the other day, here's what I saw. He was so zoomed in. I know he was zoomed in this far. I'll leave the trigger cam on. He came down, he put the rifle down, and here's what he did. And he was doing this, and then he'd come up and then he'd go down, and then he'd come up, and then finally he did this. And then he was doing this a lot. So it was like he'd get there and then he would zoom back in, right? Don't do that. Pick a number you're good with. Look, I just zoomed back to 18. That's where I'm always shooting at. 18 power lets me get down on this. I'm on it. Boom. I'm on it. Boom. Okay? So target acquisition. Just, guys, I'm telling you, if you can get good at this one piece, this is going to shave, I promise you, it's going to shave 15 seconds off your time. You will not time out. You have to get good at the target acquisition piece. All right, what's next? I think I'm going to use my cheat sheet here. Target acquisition. Let's go to the stance. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, let's go to the stance. Okay, for this one I came over to this side because I want you to see a couple things. The stance is really important, and there's three basic stances I want to talk to you about right here. And those are, a piece of my brass, those are standing, kneeling, and all the way kneeling. Okay, so let's start with standing. In the video I was watching and some of the shooters that I've watched, here's where their stance is on a prop like this. They're here, the bag goes down, they come here, and then they are like this. Okay? They're just like this. Everything here is, I'm not going to say wrong. If this is how you shoot and this is how you want to keep shooting it. This is going to be very awkward for you, right? The stance you want here is the kind of tripod stance. What you want to do is you want to come down, you want to get behind the rifle. That rifle needs to be in your shoulder. And look at how I've got my legs. They are perpendicular to the back of the rifle. So if I came out here, the rifle would come here, a line would come here, and I'm not perfect. But look, I'm right on it, and now I am there, okay? And that's where I am. My shoulders are pretty much straightened up with my whole body, and this really affords you a very good stance. I'm loading into this barrier, right? If I'm like this and I'm loading into this barrier, I'm kind of like wonky off to the side. In fact, I can tell you right now, my elbow's killing me because I'm putting pressure here instead of here, and all the pressure is going forward, okay? So this is where I'm talking. I'm not going to run the trigger cam, but this is what I'm talking about here. Now let's talk about kneeling. So kneeling, the biggest challenge I see that people have kneeling is this. They come down, rifle goes down, and then they do, see, I'm in such a habit, and then they do this knee. If you are right-handed, this isn't going to help you, okay? If you are right-handed, then this is what we should be doing right here. And you'll notice that I am right down on it, and look at my elbow on my knee. I now have two points of stabilization. I've got the prop itself, and I've got my elbow on my knee. This is what you want, right? If you're down here. Now this is kind of too low for this, but I'm using it as an example. But make sure that you practice this. Practice. Stay here. Get down. Boom. Down. I'm on it right there. I'm on the target right now. That took me 3 seconds, okay? And again, the same thing kind of applies here. I'm not here wonky. I'm here behind it. I'm behind the rifle, okay? And then the last one is the knees. I love this position, and if you do it right. Again, I get down, knees, as far apart as I can make them. As far apart. What am I doing here? 2 knees and 2 feet, my butt resting on on my heels. What do I have? I have a triangle. Come here and try to knock me over. You can't. My balance won't let you. My rifle's balanced, and now when I come here, I'm just right down on it. This is so. Okay, so those are those 3 stances I wanted to go over. You're going to use these 90% of the time in a match, so just get used to practicing those and get good with them. All right, let's move on. Ooh, this next one's going to get some comments. But look, here's the deal. When I watched this gentleman shoot in his first match, remember this was his first match, the very first thing that happened was he got down on a prop. I could tell he was loading into it, right? And I think he had a barricade stop, but I don't think it came down as far as this MPA. I just love this MPA chassis. This Matrix Pro with this barricade stop. Anyway, look at that video if you want to really see a great chassis. But he got down, he loaded in, and then this is what happened. He went down, and then he was like, then he fidgeted with it, and I've seen a ton of guys this year do this. And then they've dropped their mag, they put it back in, and then they finally chamber around, and 20 seconds has gone off the clock. 20 seconds. Now, what I do is, now he blamed it on the fact that he said he seated his magazine too deeply, right? He overseated his magazine, which he could have, but then that's a whole nother story that he's got to make a mag adjustment there. But when I'm standing getting ready and the RO says make ready, I insert my mag, and then I'm going to come up close. I hope it picks it up. If it doesn't, I'll do it at home. But I start the round. And what I mean by start, guys, is very slightly. If you can look at this, I'm moving it maybe a 1/16 of an inch. That's it. 1/16 of an inch, okay? I could still take the magazine out. I haven't exceeded my mag length. I'm still safe, but that's what I do. And what that does is it starts that round going forward, so when I get down on the rifle, it's easier to chamber, okay? Just get in the habit of doing that, and you'll be fine. If you are having those types of jams, then you really need to check your magazine, your mag well, make sure, get some dummy rounds. I always say that, get some dummy rounds so you can play with this stuff. And you may need to get a better barricade stop so you don't have the issues of something getting up in there and inhibiting your ability to chamber around. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. I tried to keep it short. As another 5 things come up, I'll put out another video, but these are just 5 quick things. And I have these in some of my other videos, but once in a while, I just like to reiterate how we should all be thinking about this. Let me know in the comments if any of this is helping you or you have some suggestions. And yeah, I've got some other stuff I'm doing. Some powder changes, maybe. Some projectile changes, maybe. I'm out here today. I'm going to test all that out. But yeah, we'll see how all that goes. Well, thanks for watching. Like, subscriptions, comments, love them all. And until next time, shoot straight.